Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. I'm Paul Sanneman, your host. I'm founder of Contractor Staffing Source, where we help contractors build great teams. Now, I have for my guest today, BJ Barone. We go back a long time, don't we, BJ? We know each other
Yeah,
well.
we sure do.
And so he's always coming with new cool innovations. And so this is his latest new cool innovation. All right. And so tell the audience what Timber Shell Solution does, how you came up with it, and how they might be able to use it.
So, first of all, a little background. So, I've been a custom home builder down here in Naples for about 35, 40 years. And during that time, realized that there were many processes and systems that we use as builders that are flawed. And I've tried to improve those systems and processes over the years, but have found that many of them can't be improved no matter what you do because they're flawed to start with. So I was always looking for the better way to build a better product, better house, commercial or multifamily. And a few years back, looked into, you've heard a lot about prefab homes or modular homes, things like that. Looked into that kind of product, found that there were some useful products on the market, but the biggest drawback was the availability, shipping, getting it over the roadways, getting it through bridges, things like that, limitations to size, all these different things. There's a lot of technology that's coming out. One of the main technologies that's been around for 50 years is what's called mass timber. And this has been a very popular method of building in Europe and Asia for about the last 50 years. And in the last 10 years in the US, it's really taken off as well. So there's thousands of projects, but most of them are monumental commercial projects like the terminal at the airport in Portland. And the thing that's unique about mass timber is that it can replace steel and cement, which has a high carbon footprint and also is very complicated to work with. But the timber is actually it's very similar. Everybody that watches this podcast, I'm sure, has used a micro lam beam over a window or over a garage, that kind of thing. And the technology is very similar, where it's the old concept of if you take a little piece of string, you can break it, but if you take 100 pieces of string and put it together, it's very difficult to break. So the same thing's true about mass timber. They take glue lam, they'll take 2x4s or pieces of wood, laminate them together, glue them together, and it becomes a stronger unit, so strong that it actually functions just like steel. So they have these beams that can span 240 plus feet, clear
Wow.
clear span. So it's amazing. They use them in stadiums, but again, these are usually high profile projects where money's no object, right? And
Right.
so it was always out of the reach of builders for home builders, whether you're building high-end custom or production or affordable homes, very difficult to deal with. Many people have seen the elements of mass timber used in smaller projects, commercial projects. A lot of churches, for example, will have these huge span beams made out of wood, or you'll see them in field houses and stadiums and universities and things like
Right.
that. So, unbeknownst to me, about 13 years ago, the founder of our fabrication company set out. He was on the same mission I was, except his background's a little different. My background in the construction industry before I got into construction was in the real estate industry. His was he was an architect, engineer, and really into the technical side of construction. Worked for a global commercial company building hospitals and stadiums in Australia for a number of years. Then decided that it was time for him to set up his own business. Decided to go into the single family business in the Hamptons, New York, so which is a high-end district, and found the same like myself that he was working with systems and processes that were flawed. He knew about the mass timber product because he has a European background, and he investigated that and decided that he was going to really do something that no one else has done, and that is to identify and refine this system for single family homes. and make it so that it's affordable. And in his market, typically, this may be a shocker for a lot of people, but the homes in his market, typically the construction pricing is between $1,000 and $2,000 a square foot, right? He's been able to actually keep his price down below that, around $800, which I understand in a lot of markets that still might be high, but in his market, that's a huge savings. So I became aware of what he was doing, went up to visit him about a year ago. As soon as I walked onto the job site, I recognized that this has great potential. And we got into, I'm a real alpha type of person, and I go into the details of finances and things like that. In fact, I had another business where I was helping custom builders all over the country improve their profits and things like that for about 8 years. I did that. And so I was really focused on the profitability and the feasibility of costs versus benefits and things like that. And in reality, we found out that depending upon the complexity of the design of the home, the simpler the home is designed, the lower the cost is, that we typically come in at about the same cost of what you're paying right now, because we're not just, what we do is, I have found, and many of your builders probably feel the same way, when you're building a home, it's really comes, you build a home in two phases. The first phase is what we call the shell. The second phase is the finish. Okay. And so the finish involves everything on the interior of a house and the exterior siding, but the shell is where you're dealing with all the rough trades. And that's usually where all the delays and the challenges come about, because you're not in control of things as much. And then everybody's always pointing fingers. Who's blaming who? The drywaller says the framer didn't do things right. The painter says the drywaller didn't do things right. And you know, you got all these problems. So what our company has done is we've identified and created a very unique concept, and that is that we can take any plan, any style home, and actually create a shell, which is all of the structural elements, the exterior walls, the interior walls, the roof, the floors, totally waterproof, totally insulated. And a typical home, for example, we can do a 5,000 square foot home from the time we arrive at the job site to the time we leave, 5 days.
That's amazing. It's really fast.
Totally done, totally weather tight, and now somebody just has to finish off the interior. And
Now
the key,
that includes the floor to, how do you
yeah.
pull out the foundation?
So they have the foundation has to be in, okay? And we come in. So if it's in Florida, we don't have basements, obviously. So if we're starting the first floor at the foundation, that's fine. But in areas that have basements, we come in with the floor joists to put the first floor on and go up from there. But so they just have to have the foundation in. And the thing that's unique about this is it's perfect. And one of the things that I experienced over the years, I'm sure a lot of guys, I had my own cabinet shop when we were running our construction company, and people used to, the theory was uh, handmade was always better than machine made. Well, we know that not to be true now.
Not
Be-
true.
You know,
Absolutely.
CNC machines have shown that nobody can do what the machines can do as long as they're programmed properly, right? So you
Right.
gotta you gotta have the right programming. So architects, builders, some of your builders probably create their own plans as a design build firm. Others get plans and bids from architects. And typically, changes are made in the field sometimes by people who aren't qualified. And that
Mhm.
could be the framer, the block mason, you know, the foundation crew. All kinds of things happen in the field, and people wonder, like, why did this turn out this way? And very rarely do you see an as-built that matches exactly what the
Right.
architect drew.
Well, obviously your product and you deliver. Now I have a question looking at your site and stuff. Does it all have to be square or it has to be modern? That's all you can do, I'm assuming. Is that not
No,
true?
no, no. We can do anything from, I can show you some pictures actually.
Uh-huh.
Can I share my screen?
Sure, if you want to do that, give it a shot. Sure.
Sure. Okay. So on our screen here, so let's go to, So these are examples of projects that have already been built, not by us. This is in the United States. These are the commercial projects. They can be anything, any size, shape, design, right? Um, this is a map showing all of the current projects that are going on in the United States. This
Mhm.
is the Portland terminal. So this is a huge facility, total open span. This is all with timber, right? And I'll show you some homes. So on the homes that we've already built, some are contemporary, which is what people think of. But here's one with a gambrel roof that, looking at that, these are traditional homes. If you saw these homes, you would never guess that they're mass timber core. When people hear the term mass timber, they usually think about exposed lumber on the inside.
Right.
Well, the our founder who built the homes in the Hamptons, that's not their style there. They like to use drywall. So you walk in these homes and you don't all these homes that I'm showing you right now were built with mass timber
Mm.
and you would never know it. So
Right.
these are a little more obvious because they're contemporary and they have the exposed lumber, right?
Mm.
But doesn't have to be that way. So the key thing is we can take any plan, any style, any size, any style, and when we create that model, so I'm going to just, does your system allow a quick video?
I think so. I'm not sure the sound's gonna work, but give it a
Okay,
shot.
I'll turn the sound on my end. Let's do that. It should work.
Okay.
Let's see here. Sound. Okay.
You just have to go to Zoom and put when you
Yeah,
put.
that's what I did. Okay.
Right.
All right, let's try it. If you can hear it, everybody else will be able to. Can you hear it?
Welcome
Yeah.
to Build Labs, and see why our on-site construction process is a revolutionary methodology. In this phase, we continue to go far and above traditional construction methods and standards, providing complete accountability and a guaranteed peace of mind. Through the use of our sophisticated Building Information Modeling System, or BIM model, we simultaneously work on laying the foundation on-site while fabricating the building elements in a factory in Germany.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Not built in Germany anymore, right? That's something you.
No. Yeah, I'll explain about that too. Yep, you bet.
Using laser tachometer technology and data points provided by the BIM model, we then carefully put the elements into place and secure them to the foundation. From here, our skilled craftsmen seamlessly assemble your homes in days, not months. Every project is unique in its architecture and materials, which is why we use a variety of on-site and off-site construction techniques to meet your project requirements. Have a last-minute change of plans? Our system has the same flexibility as traditional construction methods to accommodate any changes you might decide to make during the building process. Within 1
Hey,
to
a lot
3
of this is
weeks,
going to be a podcast, so they're not going to get all the visuals. So you need
Right.
to.
Okay. So
So
the
I get it how it works. So the question is, okay, it's a new technology. It's way faster, no, and it's way, I guess, better for lack of a better term. But getting anything adopted to new to contractors is not easy, as you know.
right.
So, tell me a little bit about. Can we use this for ADUs?
Yes. And we have about 15 ADU plans. We're right now working with one of the communities out in the Hamptons. They hired us to put together low-income housing, affordable housing, right?
Mhm.
Using ADUs and one-bedroom, two-bedroom units, that kind of thing. The thing that's unique about the product is that, and what makes it less expensive, is the amount of time that it takes. And number two, the actual cost So up until now, our founder has been doing one of a kind products, and every time he's built about 30 homes, but every home's been different. He's never repeated the same home. So for builders who so for example, in my business, I have one model home that I built about 40 different times the same home, okay, in different areas in my market because people like the design. So if you have a home that you're repeating over and over, the cost drops tremendously because the biggest expense on our end is the fabricating and putting together the software to build it the first time. Once that's done, now it's a rinse and repeat situation.
Right.
So that could be what we're contemplating, like with the ADUs. That's why it's going to be so inexpensive, is because you can pick from one of the 15 units that are there, and we already have everything done, and it's like.
And
Right.
obviously, it's not like, and you haven't got the same permitting issue because it's not a.
No,
It's not,
it actually there's no permitting issue at all. It's framing, okay, that goes through. We get sealed plans from the local engineer, and it's whether you're building with wood studs or using ours, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Nothing changes. And if you notice in that picture, we had some steel in there, so we can use steel as well. In some designs, we can only eliminate 40% of the steel. So it just depends on, but anything can be done. And what we do is to help everybody with the financial side. Here's what I have found, Paul. You'll appreciate this. There's basically four things that control projects, construction projects. One is budget. The second is schedule. The third is design, right?
Mhm.
And the fourth is the just went blank. What did I say? Design, schedule, and budget. Those three things. And if budget's the main thing, we take a set of plans. Anybody can send us a set of plans, like even a PDF of a set of plans, and we come back with an estimated budget range to what it would cost for us to do the first one. Okay. And obviously the first one's going to be the most expensive. The other thing is where you're located. So our crew is the crew that comes and installs it. So nobody has to take responsibility. We make sure we collaborate with you getting the permits and everything else and make sure that everything happens. Here's the only tough part on the first one. This program is exact. So the plans have to be perfect because whatever the plans you give us, that's what you're going to get back. Okay. So we go through the plans and make sure that they're right. And then the foundation can't be off either. Okay. It's okay if it's if the slab's larger, it can't be smaller. Right. You can have a little bit of overflow there. So, and we have one of the unique things we do is we send the plates to the builder for the footprint of the house so that the builder installs those plates on the slab and we'll recognize because we don't want to ship everything and fabricate it if there's a problem. So we give him the plates first. He puts the plates down. If the plates match up,
You're
perfect.
done.
No problem.
Right.
And that's the key thing to this is the home itself, when you walk into the home, it's just a total different experience because everything is sound, plumb and square. Everything's plumb and square. Nobody has to worry about that. And what we give is we give a guaranteed delivery date, a guaranteed fixed price. There's no extras. Everything's all done. And it's so here's who it's geared for. It's not geared for the person, I don't care what the size project is. If it's all about just budget and that's all they care about, that's not the best fit prospect. The best fit prospect is somebody who wants the best, doesn't want to pay more than they should for it, but is willing to, they understand quality. That was the fourth thing, quality. Okay. So quality, price, and schedule are the key things, but you can only have one of those to control any project. So if
Right.
budget's it, not it. So my typical clients that would be interested in this project are people that aren't willing to pay more than they should, but aren't willing to they're not looking to get something on a deep discount either, right?
Right.
Like
Okay.
a bad
So,
low end contractor would do.
so BJ, if people are interested in this, how do they start? How do they go to the
Okay,
website?
real simple. They go to the timbershell.com, which is our website, timbershell.com. They contact me directly at 239-785-2147.
Okay.
And all they have to do is send they can take a home. What I advise all builders, I did this with a builder recently in Atlanta. I told him, I said, send me the PDF of the last home you just finished, right?
Mhm.
And see what kind of numbers you have on that. I'll put together, and we compared. Ours actually came out 10% less than what his costs were. The biggest challenge that most builders have is that this isn't replacing your framer. This is for your trusses. This is for all of your engineering and your structurals. Okay.
Mhm.
It's for your weatherproofing and for your insulation. So it's all of those things. And what a lot of builders don't realize is during construction, you're framing a house, all of a sudden there's a flaw that has to be fixed. And that change order, that extra cost gets thrown into different categories sometimes, and you can't really pull out. So, but we will work through a cost benefit analysis for anybody.
So, got it. So what we want to do is, if you're interested, contact BJ. I think it's a new technology. It's really useful.
Yep.
You're not going to know until you try. So my suggestion is give it a shot, send him a house and see what
I'm
happens.
building my own I'm going to be starting my own house in July this year that we're building right down here in Naples.
Cool, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, BJ. Appreciate you
Okay,
being
you
here.
bet. Good
Have a good
talking
one.
to you.
Bye.
All right, bye.